Excuse me. We got? Okay. Okay. Public Works Procurement and Contracting Committee for Wednesday, June 21st, 2017 will be called to order. Roll call, please.
Calling the roll, Mr. Tuma.
Here.
Mr. Miller. Here. Ms. Conwell. Ms. Conwell is absent at the moment. Mr. Schrein. Mr. Schrein is absent. Ms. Baker. Here. There is a quorum.
Okay. Are there any public comments related to the agenda this afternoon or morning?
No, Mr. Chair, no one is signed in.
Okay. And could we have a approval of the minutes from the May 17th, 2017 meeting?
I so move for approval.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. And if you would, clerk, read the first matter referred to committee.
Resolution number 2017-0104, making an award on requisition number 39104 to Diversified Infrastructure Services in the amount not to exceed $2,332,362.50 for cleaning and televising sanitary sewers in various communities for the period 7/1/2017 through 12/31/2018.
Okay, and if we could, please state your name for the record. Okay. And Mr. Marquardt, thank you for being here this morning. If you could just give us a brief explanation as to what this entails, this piece of legislation.
This is a contract for cleaning and televising sanitary sewers the contract is used in various communities that we provide sewer services for within the county by agreement. The contract is for a 2-year period, 2017 to 2018. Bids were received on April 20th, 2017. 7 bids were pulled from OPD. 3 bids were submitted for review. Diversity goals were set as 7% SBE, 17% MBE, and 6% WBE. One bidder submitted an incorrect bid form and was disqualified. Remaining bidders met all other requirements per the specifications, but were non-compliant regarding diversity goals. This was reviewed by OPD, and it was determined we could proceed with award to the lowest bid. The lowest and best bidder was determined to be Diversified Infrastructure Services Incorporated, with a bid of $2,332,362.50, which is 25.6% less than the engineer's estimate of $3 million. Department of Public Works is requesting approval of award to Diversified Infrastructure Incorporated. Funding for the contract will be through sewer district user fees. The anticipated start and completion dates are July 1st of 2017 through December 31st of 18. If there are any questions, I'll be glad to answer.
Okay, thank you. Just with respect to the bidding process, what was it that they did not comply with as far as the diversity requirements?
Good morning, Lenora Lockett, Office of Procurement and Diversity. For this project, the goal was to have 7% SBE participation, 17% MBE participation, and 6% WBE participation. If the vendor cannot meet the diversity goals, they also can provide documentation of good faith effort, which demonstrates who they contacted, when they contacted the vendors, what was the response to those vendors, and why they were not included in their bid proposal to meet the diversity goal. In this case, the low bidder, Diversified, had SBE participation at a projected 1.5% with Eugenics. They did not provide any documentation on why they did not reach the remaining goals. They did not provide information on who they contacted, when they contacted the different vendors to get participation. So based on the lack of good faith effort, they were ruled non-compliant. And each vendor's proposal is evaluated in a similar fashion, and they're determined whether or not they've met the goal or made good faith effort to meet the goal.
So Diversified made a good faith effort to try to meet the goal.
No, they
Oh,
did not.
they did not. So being new here, I'm not sure. So how were they approved for the, by OPD then? Why was it okay then?
Okay. Yes, so as part of our diversity ordinance, there's a diversity price preference. And it basically states that if a vendor is compliant in all other factors, the county reserves the right to pursue a vendor that is compliant in all other factors plus compliant with the diversity goals within a certain price range.
Okay.
In this case, because the lowest bidder was at 2.3 million, that range was 1 million to 3 million, which meant the county's flexibility was to go up 8% up to a max of $210,000 to find a bidder that met all goals and met the diversity goal.
Okay.
So
So
in
it
this case-
becomes kind of an economical
Yes.
decision beyond that
Yes.
aspect of it. Okay. Any questions for my colleagues? Mr. Miller?
To follow up on that, did any bidder submit a bid that met the goals?
Let me check. The second bidder, CK Industrial, complied with the goal. They had 30% participation, 15% SBE, 15% WBE. So while we give the distribution that we would like, we look at the effort to meet that distribution and also the effort to have an overall aggregate of participation. In this case, they did meet the goal. However, their bid was at 2.58 million, and the price preference allowed us objectively to go to 2.51.
I see. Okay. Any follow-up questions, Mr. Miller?
Yes. On diversified infrastructure, you said they had 1.5% on SBE. Does that imply they didn't have any on MBE or WBE?
Correct. They only submitted a SBE participation plan that included one vendor to provide mapping, and that vendor is only certified as a SBE.
And further follow-up question, if I might. In a case like this, will you ever, and do you have the authority to go back to the winning bidder and say, you won this bid and you're going to get this bid, but we would like for you to go back and make another effort to meet some of the diversity goals? Is that something we do or no?
No, not with bids. Bids are evaluated based on the proposal that's submitted at that time, determining
Understood.
compliance.
Okay. Ms. Baker?
Thank you. Just a little background, because we're still rather new. It's paid for from the sewer district cash balances, and it is for various communities. So
Yes.
tell me how that works. Say a Cuyahoga County city wanted to use the cleansing and televising sanitary sewers in their district. How is that? How do you do that? How do they? It comes out of their sewer district fees?
This particular contract is used by our workforce to supplement our cleaning and TVing process.
Okay.
There are some cases where their equipment or their availability is needed. For instance, if we take on a new community, we have to start televising and cleaning. Before we can beef up the workforce, we may need these services to assist us. When we use a consultant for these, or use the contractor for these services, we will bill the municipality's fund back for the exact cost of this service. So
Okay.
that's how it's used. We don't have the local municipality asking to use this service.
Okay.
We use it for supplementing our own.
Supplementing your own. So, if I may continue, just trying to figure. So if you had a city like, say, Brook Park, that had problems with its drainage, and they seem to think there's a problem there in their sanitary sewers, can they call the county and say, hey, we would like to be able to use your services? Can we with you pay into this sewer district? I mean, is there any cooperation there, or is it you have your places where you typically know you need to be and that's where you go?
Generally speaking, with the communities that are full-service communities,
Okay,
that's where we provide all the sewer services for them.
okay.
There's an assessment that is added to all of the parcel owners within that area. That money is collected and put into the fund. And as we use the service, we deduct that money from that fund
Okay.
through approval of the local community.
When you say, I may continue, full-service communities, what's a full-service community?
That means we provide, we will work on all of their sewer system for them, and they've requested us to do that. A partial service might be one where we work by task order.
Okay.
We just wait for them to call and say, we've got an issue here, we need your services to fix it. In those cases, a lot of times, it'll be set up for just one-time billing, and they'll pay us out of their funds.
Got it. How many, just generally, I'm just trying to get a scope, how many full-service communities do we have? Just generally, I mean.
We have agreements with 40 communities. Out of those, I'm not quite sure. I think the majority of those are full service.
Okay, just to get an idea. Thank you, very interesting.
All
Appreciate
right.
it.
Thank you, Ms. Baker. Any further questions from members of the committee? Okay, seeing none, I see this contract runs July 1st. Are you looking for this on suspension of the rules?
I don't believe we need that for this.
Okay,
We can,
we can just move it to full committee then?
yes.
Okay. All right, could I have a motion for a second reading on this?
For suspension.
Or, well, that's what I just asked him. He said he didn't need it for suspension.
Okay, then,
Are you sure you don't need it for suspension? Because it's July 1st is the,
We are running, yes, let me go ahead and say we do need.
because it's July
the
1st date. That's
suspension of rules, yes.
Okay,
this is.
I'm sorry.
that's
This
okay.
is a routine contract. There's no
Right.
reason why we can't do suspension.
Okay, so motion for suspension of the rules?
I'll move that we favorably report resolution 2017-0104 with a recommendation to the council president to put it on for second reading suspension.
Okay. Okay, so we have a motion and a second for second reading suspension. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it, and we'll get that on second reading suspension. Ms. Clerk, if you could read the second.
Resolution number 2017-0105, declaring that public convenience and welfare requires an emergency repair of Shaker Boulevard culvert number C-13 in the village of Hunting Valley. Total estimated project cost $200,000.
Okay, if we could have an explanation as to what this piece of legislation is?
Sure. Nicole English from Public Works, and this is the first step in our process when we ask for welfare and convenience on a project. This is an emergency repair that's come up through the village of Hunting Valley. They've had a wall of one of the sides of the culvert fail, and there's a big sinkhole just off the roadway, and so they've estimated the project to cost $200,000, and they've asked for some emergency assistance, and we are trying to agree to 50% of the cost. We do have funds set aside for emergency instances. You might remember, at least Councilman Miller, that a year ago or so we did Fairview Park. They had an emergency failure on Mastic Culvert. This is a similar approach here. The city would design the project and construct it, and we would just reimburse them for 50% of the cost.
Okay. Any questions?
Yes. Did you say 50-50 or 15-15?
50. So 100,000 that we would give and 100,000 the village would give
Okay.
towards the project.
Okay, any other questions? Okay, seeing none. Again, with the situation here, is this something that we need to act on immediately, or?
I mean,
is this-
we told the village we're hopeful that we would get this through. They are proceeding anyhow because it's an emergency, so they are working on it.
Yeah.
So I guess the quicker we could get them in agreement, the better, but,
Again, I would think that this would be something we want to move on here, given the circumstances. So I'll ask for a motion for second reading suspension.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. And R 2017-0105 will be moved forward on second reading suspension. Okay, next ordinance, clerk.
Resolution number 2017-0106, making an award on requisition number 39323 to the Great Lakes Construction Company in the amount not to exceed $11,648,703.10 for Cuyahoga County Airport Runway 624 Safety Area Improvements Projects numbers 3 and 4 for the Airport Improvement Program.
Okay, Mr. Marquardt, do you want to explain this?
Yes,
request?
the scope of work is to perform runway safety improvements to correct non-standard safety area grades for runways and reconstruct the runway and taxiway pavements. It includes milling the pavement, excavating and grading an aggregate base, and replacing with hot mix asphalt, installation of some safety areas at the ends of the runways that's there to, if in the event a plane goes off the runway, it stops the plane with very little damage to the plane itself. So those will be installed, and some other electrical systems and equipment improvements.
Okay.
The schedule, the contract will be given a notice to proceed with construction in the spring of 2018 with an anticipated start and completion dates of April 1st of 2018 through September 28th of 2018. The airport is located in Richmond Heights, Council District 11. Bids were opened April 21st, 2017. 17 bids were pulled from OPD. 4 bids were submitted for review. FAA had set a 12% DBE goal. Great Lakes Construction submitted utilization statements as required per the specifications. The engineer's estimate for base bid and additive alternate was $13,450,659. The recommended lowest and best bidder is Great Lakes Construction Company at $11,648,703.10, which is 13.4% under the engineer's estimate. Funding, 90% is funded from the FAA, and currently 10% is planned from the Capital Improvement Fund. Department of Public Works is recommending an award for the base bid and alternate bid to the lowest and best bidder, Great Lakes Construction.
Okay. And you said startup date April of 2018, September of 2018 estimated completion date on that.
Yes.
Okay, and this was the lowest and best bidder, and for safety runway improvements, reconstructing the runway and such to prevent planes from falling off. So any questions from my colleagues on this? Sure. Mr. Miller?
Could you say a little more about how this system that stops the planes if necessary works?
I wasn't directly involved with the design, but I did ask questions. It's a product that's at the end of the runways that's used in an excavated area at the end of the runway, so that if a plane is still moving off the end of the runway, it gets into this material and it slows it down but does very little damage. So it's for safety purposes and protection of the airplanes themselves.
So it's in the construction material itself.
Yes.
Right. Is this similar to what they used at like the in Washington D.C. off the runways over there? They after they had a crash go off into the Potomac, they put like it's kind of like the asphalt, but it doesn't hold the plane the weight of the plane.
Right, Burke actually did this a few years ago also, and it's blocks of sort of a soft concrete
Right,
material.
right.
And so when they come in, they essentially like sink in,
right,
so
right.
it doesn't damage the front of the plane. And then also because it's in blocks, it's removable, just the pieces that are damaged. So for a replacement, if something were to happen, you don't have to rip the whole area out.
Right.
You pull it up. So it essentially extends our runway length, giving us a safety zone that we don't have because we don't have the length to extend the runway longer.
Okay.
So it's an FAA approved method, and that's why they're paying for 90% of it.
Okay. Mr. Miller?
Did Great Lakes meet the 12% DBE target?
Yes. Yes,
I believe they did, yes.
Lenora said yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Miller. Ms. Baker?
Just to clarify the funding, I think you said the 90% came from FAA, but it looks like the state, the Ohio Department of Transportation, is paying for 5%. So really, out of the county, are we only paying 5%?
That should be the case. As I understand it, we can't apply for the ODOT funding until the end of this year. But the commitment is there, but we haven't actually received the funding yet. So I had to list it as all county right now, but the expectation is we'll get 5%.
Back.
Okay.
All right, thanks.
Okay, good question. Thank you. Okay, and what, as far as the timeline on this, we can just move this through the regular course here, since it's not starting until April of next year, I would imagine.
Yes.
Okay, so could I have a motion for second reading?
I'll move that we favorably report Resolution 2017-0106 to the full council for second reading.
Okay, and second. We have a motion and second for second reading. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Ayes have it. Madam Clerk, if you could read the next ordinance.
Resolution number 2017-0107, making an award on requisition number 38316 to Euthenix in the amount not to exceed $788,987 for design engineering services for replacement of Memphis Road Bridge number 00.62 over CSXT Railroad in the city of Brooklyn.
Okay, and if we could have an explanation on our 2017-0107, please.
Nicole English again from Public Works. So this project was approved for welfare and convenience back in December of 2016, and we went out to bid, for requests for qualifications for a consultant to perform design services. There was 20 proposals pulled from OPD, 9 submitted for review, 1 was selected. There is a 15% SBE goal, 10% MBE, 5% WBE, and Euthenix meets those goals. They were the highest ranking consultant out of our selection process, and we are looking to award the contract. This would be for construction we have fiscal year 2020 dollars from the federal road or bridge, county engineer bridge fund, and we would begin in 2020 construction.
Okay, and when would the estimated completion date be on that project? Would you know?
I think this would probably be a 2-year season.
Okay. And then just to confirm, so they're the lowest and best bidder is Euthenix?
Well, because it's a qualification for engineering services, we don't get costs. So we rank them based on qualifications, and then we negotiate.
Okay.
We felt this was within our range of what we had budgeted for design costs, so we feel it's a fair price, so we want to move forward.
Okay. And they do meet the OPD diversity goals?
Yes, they're an SBE themselves, and then they met the other 2.
Okay. Okay. Any questions from my colleagues here?
Sure. What's the total expected project cost, including the design and the construction?
So the design, this is, sometimes we do a part one, part two. This one we did all in one, so the design should not go over the amount presented here, the 789,000 approximately. The construction cost is estimated to be 3.025 million. And we have 80% of that secured with federal dollars.
I'm sorry, could you repeat that?
3025000, so 3.025 million.
That's in addition to the 789,000.
Correct. The 788 we pay, the county pays themselves. We don't have federal dollars for the design portion of it.
Okay.
Looks like the design is approximately 20% of the total project cost. Is that typical?
Yeah, anywhere from 15 to 20. These bridge projects have been coming in a little higher. This one's complicated because of the railroad. They're going to have some work to do. And also that Kitty Park is right next to this. So there'll be some challenge on the MOT. So we expected it to be a little higher than normal. Our traditional roadway projects come in a little bit under that because it's more of a standard design.
It doesn't affect the kiddie park.
We hope not. Their railroad also goes right near it.
They got a little
bridge.
train too.
Yeah.
Mr. Miller?
Is there any need for passage under suspension on this item?
It's not urgent that we are desperate, but it would help just because these funds were actually programmed in 2022. But we did a swap with the CEAO for a different project that we wanted to line up in 22. So we've moved this forward 2 years. So we've been on the fast track to hire a consultant. So 2 weeks would help. It's not, the end of the world if it goes another 2 weeks, but it would help.
I don't hear any controversial aspects to this item, so I'm willing to make a motion to okay.
Okay. Ms. Baker?
Just a quick question.
Sure.
The 3 million is 85% paid by the federal,
80.
80. The other 20% is paid by the county.
Right now, it's the county road and bridge. We would anticipate likely putting this for an application to issue one, but we wouldn't do that until 2019, so we wouldn't be awarded the money. But it's a likely candidate for issue one.
Does the city of Brooklyn have any?
They do
dollars?
not, because this is a county bridge that we're responsible for. So unlike the roads that the municipality is responsible for, this is a county bridge, so we have all the responsibility on it.
Okay,
Okay.
good, thank you.
Okay. Mr. Miller, I believe you were going to make a motion.
Yes, I will move that we favorably report Resolution 2017-0107 to the full council with recommendation for second reading suspension.
Second.
I have a motion and a second for second reading suspension on R 2017-0107. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. And the ayes have it. Okay, thank you, Ms. English. Madam Clerk, is there any other business to my colleague, any other business before Public Works here? Okay, seeing none. Madam Clerk, is there any public comment?
No, Mr. Chair, no one has signed in.
All right. And having said that, could I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
I have a motion and a second to adjourn. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it, and Public Works will adjourn at 10:32 a.m. Thank you.